Welcome to the final battle of the Final Fantasy FF5FJF2022 2022 Run number 1. This is a Berserker Risk run, so we are seeing the Berserker right here. My setup up there, as you can see, my Samurai has the Mirage Vest on. All of my characters have the running shoes or the Hermes sandals. That's our haste item. There is no better accessory in this game, and I use no other accessory in this game at all. I immediately sell every accessory as soon as I get to World 3, the Mirage Village. I get rid of my elf capes, I get rid of everything else. Baboom. Okay, so Xdeath here has an interesting kind of attack. The attack will not knock a sleeper awake or a charmed character awake or a singer awake. It's kind of interesting. So we're getting set up here with Shell, and we're trying to get Image as well. What we're looking to do here is protect ourselves from White Hole. Now, if you have Shell, White Hole will give you an extra 50% evade on targeting magic. So if we can get ourselves protected from White Hole, at least another 50% check, then we can get Image on everybody, and then we can be pretty much immune to what Xdeath throws at us in the first part of this battle, although White Hole can still hit you at a lower probability. White Hole does both, puts you in dead status and in in the stone status. You have to use a soft to get out of stone status if you're in the dead status. So now we're going in the offensive. The White Mage has got the Sage Staff, and she's going to pretty much exclusively just cast Holy over and over and over again. The Geomancer, I believe, is my chicken knife wielder, so the Geomancer is going to get some good attacks in. That's why she's in the front row there. She's got all the white magic that she needs. Right now you see Ferris has got the old Earth Hammer and Thornlit trick. Thornlit is, it takes your magic attack down by, I think it's 5, but Berserkers have really low magic anyway, and if the Thornlit is on, it'll underflow your magic to the maximum right there, so that could have been a lot better, I think. Unfortunately, Ferris might be having trouble with that one. Could have been better, but what that does, though, the Earth Hammer, I like to use that because in the second form of Xdeath, Ferris will target a random enemy with a regular attack, which is not very useful against the last enemy, but the all-targeting Earth attack is useful. It's because it'll hit with the one I'm trying to go for no matter what. So Holy is going to be my best damage. You can see that's why even my Samurai is casting Holy, because the Masamune, as great as it is, just doesn't quite have that damage without getting a critical hit. Doesn't have the massive damage of Holy. Critical hits are nice, and we all love that, and we all love that it can cast haste. Some people will kind of ask about in these final battles using the Masamune to cast haste on characters in lieu of using the running shoes, but the running shoes will also protect you from the Grand Crosses, a bunch of stuff like Paralyze and Slow. It kind of just locks all that stuff down. If you have haste that is not durable, it can be taken out by Xdeath's Dispel, it can be taken out by Grand Cross, so it's nice to just have durable, permanent haste status, so you get those turns a lot faster. And the Berserker looks like she gets turns a lot more often, of course, with haste status as well. Timing on Berserkers is always weird, but that's something we have to deal with. So anyway, Ferris goes for the attack there. Xdeath is now in the kind of middle part of the routine. Could be in the later part where Holy is on the table. Even with Shell status, you notice that Holy was half damage for her. So if you see Ferris's health ticking away, that's because of the Thornlit helmet that I referenced before. The first part of Xdeath is usually not a huge problem unless you have an all-physical party that just is like a bunch of beaters like knights and monks and things, because you're going to have to slowly whittle Xdeath down while you're taking a bunch of Meteos and Holies here in this middle part. Magic is just way better in this game. The Geomancer does have the ability to just use Gaia or Terrain, and that will do a Wind Slash every time in this battle. So it's actually really, really nice. Wind Slash is a really powerful attack from that character, and you can boost it with the Air Knife. But with Holy and the Chicken Knife giving her extra turns, that's her best damage right now. So, right now we are transitioning to the second form. Xdeath, Neo Xdeath should say, the final form has 4 pieces, the top, bottom, front, and back. The back piece is the magic piece. We leave that one alone until the very end when you'll see us use the Magic Lamp Odin, because that will do an instant KO on that back piece. And I like to keep that last piece alive until that very end. The bottom part is a bigger problem for us because it casts Almagest, which is an all-targeting Holy Element spell that will hit everybody for pretty decent damage, although Shell will cut it in half. But at our levels, we can take 1 Almagest, but we can't really take 2. So we've got to kind of keep everybody close to full health in order for them to survive it, and then we need to have a Cure 3 ready to go, because Almagest not only does big damage to everybody, but it will also put you into leak status afterwards. So if you don't get a quick heal off, it can be kind of dicey for you. So Neo X Death is about to come out. The front piece of Neo X Death mostly just does physical attacks. It can also hit you with a random Dispel, and that's what can knock you out of Image and Shell, and it can knock you out of Haste if it's just a cast on Haste rather than using the Running Shoes. So even if I have a Time Mage in a Fiesta run, I'll use the Running Shoes anyway, because that's just better than using Haste too, in my opinion. So I'm looking for the Magic Lamp right here. The Geomancer is going to use it because I want to have the Magic Lamp set up. The Magic Lamp does summon spells. It starts with the very highest attack summon spell and works its way down to the weakest. So the first one that comes out of the Magic Lamp is Bahamut. The second one is going to be Leviathan, and then the third one is going to be the Odin that we need. Okay, so we're casting Holy on the Almagest piece that's down there. Something to comment on, this may happen again, but the Berserker before took a swing, and it hit one of X-Deaths. We call them the dummy targets or the dead targets. They are targets that you cannot manually target, but they will randomly be targeted by things like Berserker attacks or the X-Fight that the Hunter uses. The 4 times attack can randomly target stuff. So anything that targets a random target can hit them, but you can't physically target them. So right there, the Berserker hit the back piece. But if you ever see the Berserker swing and it just kind of makes a clunk sound but no damage readout comes up, then you know it targeted one of the dead targets. X-Death is shaking right here. I know the frame rate of the video is not catching all of the shakes, but that means that Almagest is coming soon. We're going to try to rush the Almagest piece down with as much damage as we can. So we've got Holies targeting that piece. Well, it looks like the Geomancer is going to try to maybe heal everybody, or I'm trying to decide what I want to do next. I do have the Air Lance in, so I could throw I could throw a Wind Slash to hit all the pieces, or I could cast Holy again on the bottom part. The Elixir there was really more for MP on the Samurai. Vacuum Wave is a physical attack, and right there was another Berserker attack on one of the dummy targets. There's one dummy target kind of in the front below the horned piece, and then another one in front of that skeleton in the back. So Holy right there is good damage. All these pieces have between 50 and 60,000 HP. Their HP is slightly different for each one, but 50 and 60,000. Gale Cut is Wind Slash, and that's boosted by the Air Knife, does all targeting damage. There's Dispel, so that will take the shell status off of the Berserker, and you can see, look how much damage the Berserker takes, 1,600 versus 700, because the multiplier is cut in half by the shell status. Now the Berserker, with the big HP pool the Berserker has naturally, was able to actually tank that with a high Vitality score. There's the Berserker doing the Earth attack on everybody, very nice. And the laws of physics are broken means that we are getting ready for a Grand Cross. Grand Cross is a status spell that hits everybody, and it puts a random status on all of your characters. Some of them you can be made immune to with things like the Running Shoes, like Paralyze and Slow. Others you can't really dodge. Some of the nastier ones are things like Stone, Dead status, obviously. Zombie is a tough one, can be put on you. There's some nasty statuses that come out. Some of the more benign ones would be things like your poisons. Charm can be real nasty too, so we'll see what happens with the Grand Cross. You can avoid Grand Crosses. If you damage that top piece enough, you can kind of make it skip through its AI routine, because it will reset it'll reset its routine when it gets below certain HP thresholds. So if you can get it down by about half of its health before the first Grand Cross, you'll have it skip to the second of its AI routine, which will kind of bump it back to the beginning of counting down to Grand Cross. It has, I believe, 3 different routines, so if you can rush it down fast enough with damage, right there, we did it. So if you see a second Laws of Physics are broken, that means that we successfully worked our way through that. Now, that would be attributed to the Gill Toss on the Samurai, which I haven't really been talking about, because it's not as notable. So the Gill Tosses have been doing good damage to it, and the even the Wind Slashes. That trick right there that you just saw from the Samurai by switching the weapons and the shield, that was resetting the Mirage Vest. That's kind of a glitch in this game, where if you change your weapons, things like statuses from your initial set will be restored. So the Mirage Vest gives you 1 image, and resetting your weapons will put that 1 image back after an enemy attacks you. So you can kind of get image for free as long as you're able to remember to do that. So Gale Cut is the same as Wind Slash. and Guild Toss. So between those, all targeting, plus the even the Earth Hammer attacks, that they do about 2,800 by themselves. So those kind of add up on these characters, especially when you have haste status. So Holy from the White Mage is still our very best single targeting damage, and we're going to listen for that piece to go down. Right there. So that was the end of the Almagest piece. So we have no more Almagests coming our way. Next we go to work on the Grand Cross piece. Grand Cross is the most dangerous thing now. The front and back pieces don't have anything that they can use that is multi-targeting. All of their things are single target only. Here's Grand Cross, though. We were not able to quite dodge it. The back piece casts magic, and all of its magic is single targeting. Arrow 3, Ice 3. It's got Delta attack, which will turn you into stone. So here we got, looking from top to bottom, we got a Charm, nothing, it looks like, a Poison, and a Mini status. Okay, so there's Mini there from the Berserker, and he tried to attack the Berserker. That's kind of funny in Mini status. So here's our chance. I can cast Heal, because it's kind of tricky to remove Charm from a character that has images on, because you have to actually like hit them with an attack to do it otherwise. So kind of curious there. She's got Poison, but it's almost right now not really worth using an action to heal the Poison, because she's still fully capable of doing everything that she wants to do. I'm going to throw a Luck Mallet at the Berserker. So the Shell status is still on. It did not remove the Shell status from my guy. So I'll throw the Luck Mallet at Berserker. Here comes the Earth attack. Very good. That hits everybody for a couple thousand. So you can see the Geomancer takes like 90 and it take a poison damage, but I'm going to be using enough heals here, enough all-targeting Cure 3s, that damage is not really going to be too relevant for us. So I'm looking to see how defensive versus offensive should I be here. X-Death kind of starts to wear down your defenses after a while. So you got to reapply your shells, reapply your images as the attacks come in. Front part doing mostly physical attacks, dispels will clear those out. Then also the back part mostly does single targeting magic. But now that we're kind of in the lower part of the Grand Cross pieces AI, it will cast Grand Cross one more time, and then it will start doing nasty stuff like Almagest or Meteo. So you really don't want to leave the Grand Cross piece weak for very long. And let me see, yeah, so we have another hit going here on the Grand Cross piece. And it should be pretty close to going down. So I could use Scan for this one. I could check out on it with Scan. And so with the Geomancer here, I am going to go a little bit more defensive, because the front row is kind of a dangerous spot to be hanging out with no protection. Oh, did I cast Shell again when I meant to cast Image on her? Probably did. Okay, so the Grand Cross piece is still around, so we really want to rush that down, because one, we don't want another Grand Cross, and then if we do get another Grand Cross, then we start getting the big stuff. And that sound right there that just played means that the Grand Cross piece is down. So here's the goal now, is we have to take down the front piece, and then we try not to let the back piece get an action while it's alone, because all of these pieces of X-Death have a alone status. If they're the last piece left, they will go into kind of a desperation mode where they will spam real nasty all-targeting stuff like your Meteos, like your Almagests, and they can even double cast. So they can kind of one-shot you real quickly if you let them get a turn. So what I try to do is I try to make sure that whoever delivers the finishing blow to the front piece, there's another character with full ATB that they can immediately use the magic lamp right after that finishing blow is dealt to the front piece. I try not to just let the game tick up, because I've lost battles doing that. So here's a scan to see where we are, and look at that, 2,500 hit points left. I was real close. So he's 2,500, and look, I'm waiting for another character to have a full ATB bar. Because just in case this Holy will take down that front piece, I need the next character to do it. So that's why I'm waiting right here. Because I'm going to see if this Holy is enough to do the 2,500 damage. Let's look at the readout. It was right there. So you heard that sound, and that means it's time to use a magic lamp, because the only piece left is that back piece. The back piece is famously not heavy, so it's not like boss status. So it can be taken out by the insta KO ability of Odin, and there indeed is the end right there. So that is the first run of this year. Berserker Risk has been risked and rewarded. I've got a few more runs to do this year, so this is not the end of things. This is just one look at Neo X-Death. I'll be trying to put out some more commentated videos, but also do check out the playlists of all of the bosses that are generally not commentated, because a lot of bosses are not quite as exciting as these big bosses. So most of the runs I will do a few commentated boss fights and then a playlist of the unlisted, uncommented boss fights. That is it for Run 1. We will see you in Run 2.